Club football is back, everybody. Yes, international football is done now until whenever the next international competition is. But no, back to club football, back talk about the club we all love and support in Manchester United. And this is my Manchester United versus Nottingham Forest match preview. Now, I've got quite a few things to talk about. Obviously, Mason Mount and a few other injuries return. Patrick Dorgu, this will be his first game in the Premier League since his suspension against Ipswich. Obviously, we know how good he's been in the European games. But obviously, when it comes to Premier League, we've not seen him in the English League for quite a while. So, yeah, and obviously, we've got Bruno Fernandes news. We're talking about him going to Madrid. As well as let's talk about the predicted 11, how Nottingham Forest are going to shape up as well, because they are missing a few key players as well. Who's their main danger threat? We're going to be talking about it all in today's video. But make sure you leave a like on the video, subscribe if you are new, comment down below your predictions for tonight's game against Nottingham Forest. I'm going for a 2-1 victory. But let me know if you agree or disagree in the comments down below. So first of all, let's just get it over with and talk about the predicted 11. And for me, it's quite simple. Now, whether Maguire's back or not, I'm not too sure. However, I'm going to go for a predicted 11 of Andre Onana in net, obviously. I'm going to go for De Ligt, definitely. I'm going to go for, it's hard to say, you know. De Ligt definitely starts. I'm going to throw in Maguire. It's hard though because of how pacey Nottingham Forest wingers are, so you have got to be cautious. I'm going to throw in Mazraoui as well. But however, the wing backs I'm going to have as Dorgu and Diogo Dalot. Midfield two of, I'm going to go Ugarte and Bruno Fernandes. And then the front three is where it gets interesting because Rasmus Højlund did score against Leicester Forest. He also did score during his international break as well. I'm going to start Rasmus Højlund. I'll give him the benefit of doubt. I'm going to start Rasmus Højlund, Garnacho and Xerxes. That's the team I'm going to go for. I don't think he's going to go for anything crazy yet with starting the likes of Mason Mount or anyone that's coming back from an injury, apart from Maguire, like I said. So, yeah, I'm just gonna see how if I'm right or not, pretty much. But no, so how do we beat Forest? I mean, Forest don't rely on possession, so you probably will see United have a lot more of the ball tonight. It will be probably a very physical battle, especially in that midfield. I mean, Ugarte, that's why I would be starting him, because even though Forest have got very big and broad players, they also have very agile and quick players, which is why I'm a bit cautious of the counter with our centre-backs. But that's where I'm hoping the likes of Dorgu and Dalot will give us more of an advantage because they are quite quick. I mean, Dorgu is an absolute athlete. He's a machine. I've absolutely loved him since we've signed him. For me, you could probably put him up there as Izzy's signing of the season. Considering he came in January as well, it looks like he's already been here 3 or 4 years. And how young he is as well. He plays with pure maturity and the versatility and what he brings to us going forward. I already love him as a player, and you don't connect with certain players straight away. With Dorgu, I've definitely connected with, and I absolutely think he's mint. But also with Diogo Dalot and Dorgu, obviously the attacking output that they can bring going forward, and obviously a solid as defensively. I think that Alanga and Callum Hudson-Odoi are quality players. You know, they've really stepped up for Nottingham Forest this season and they've shown their quality. And yeah, they've took full advantage of it. Nottingham Forest's situation reminds me of United when it was Ten Hag's first season. I mean, you look at it, Ten Hag obviously won the Carabao Cup, got to the FA Cup final, got Champions League football for the first time for United in what was it, 2 years or whatever it was. So you look at it and you're like, okay, let's look at it in this aspect. That Nottingham Forest have capitalised on a very poor Premier League, let's be honest, because the teams that are normally at the top flight haven't been there. So Nottingham Forest have just stepped up massively, and it's a massive credit to them because they were in the relegation zone last season. Like, they've just stepped up massively and took a pure opportunity by playing a unique way of football. You know, they don't, like I said, they don't rely heavily on possession. They're very clinical when it comes to going forward. They are a very dangerous team, and their link-up play is very good. So for a team that doesn't rely on possession, I mean, they'll hold possession if they need to. They'll slow the game down. They'll keep the ball if they need to. But that's what I mean. Like, unlike Pep Guardiola, who needs his system to be based on possession football, Nuno's Forest's side doesn't rely on that. And that's why they're a unique side, and that's why I feel like they've beaten a lot of the Premier League teams. I mean, they beat us at Old Trafford. Was it last year or earlier in the season, should I say? That's a better way of putting it. We lost 3-2. That was quite an end-to-end game. But United, at that point, we had Amad Diallo. We had probably a few more players playing on confidence. But at the same time, we've got Patrick Dorgu back. We've got Bruno Fernandes in the form of his life. He's back to old Bruno. And I feel like that United, that's why I've said 2-1 tonight, and I generally think that United could get something done tonight. And, we ended the international, before the international break started, we won against Leicester 3-0, and that was a brilliant match. So it's time to build on the momentum, because Forest, it's a very big game for them. It's more pressure on Forest than there is for us, because they're going to want to keep their top 4 hopes alive. All we're trying to do is get into the top 10. And it sounds daft saying that, but it's the truth. We've got to focus on building momentum and putting pressure on teams that you could say need it more, but let's be honest, if you're basing it on this season's form, Forest have got a better team. But when it comes to pure quality and natural ability in certain players, I think United have got a better team in that. And that's just my opinion. You can call me biased, you can call me whatever you like. For me, I feel like United have got a better team than Nottingham Forest, but Nottingham Forest have just had a much better season. And I feel like if it was on a one-off game, especially let's say if you was to put us both in an FA Cup final, now I know United are out of the FA Cup, but if it was a one-off game, I feel like United players really step up. And the FA Cup win against Man City last season was a huge advocate of that. Now I know a few players have been brought in since then, but that mentality is still there in my opinion. But who's Forest's danger man? It's got to be Anthony Elanga. I mean, it would be Chris Wood, but he's out injured, which is massive for us. Massive for us. I mean, Awoniyi is a very good striker, but Chris Wood is just Chris Wood, and he's been brilliant for them this season. So lacking that striker may be a bit of a struggle for him. Obviously, you can't forget the likes of Morgan Gibbs. Well, I've not even mentioned him in this video yet. He's absolutely top class. Deserves an England call up in my opinion, and I generally think that from what he's gone through from when he was at Wolves to when he's gone to Nottingham Forest now, he's really established himself as a quality Premier League midfielder. And if you was to ask me would I ever make United, I probably would if we didn't have Bruno Fernandes. But with Bruno, it's the same with the Mason Mount situation. It's the same with the Juan Mata, the Andreas Pereira, even Donny van der Beek, if you want to throw names in like that. And Ericsson as well. Bruno Fernandes is that number 10. And, obviously in the Ruben Amorim system, it's a bit different. Maybe having Bruno in that central midfield next to Agate or whoever plays as the 8 or the 6, and Bruno plays in that midfield, maybe he could have room for Sir Morgan Gibbs-White. But when you've already got Mason Mount as well and Amad Diallo and wingers and stuff like that to come into account, I don't think Morgan Gibbs-White is a player that United would really look at. But it would be a player I'd definitely sign, is what I'm trying to say. So we need to be careful of him. Obviously that Milinkovic as well, their centre-back, is an absolute unit. They've got a lot of good players, and United do need to be careful because, like I said, they're in the top 3 or top 4 for a reason. They're the one competing for the Champions League spot. They're where United need to be and want to be. But right now, obviously, we just have to focus on the remainder of our season, mainly the Europa League. But it's not to say that, in the league, that could build our confidence up by winning these type of games, these big games as well, and trying to get as high as we can in the Premier League table. So if United can finish above the top 10, obviously it's not a successful season, but from where we've been, because we've been in the mid-teens in place and towards relegation so much this season, it's just not been a great season for United, and that's why I'm really hoping that if United win the Europa League, that'll be a massive indicator for a lot of fans who are kind of doubtful on Ruben Amorim to actually back him and back Ineos and back the project. Now in Ineos, I'm not going to talk about them because they're idiots almost, but it kind of gets you on board for the project, especially for Ruben Amorim. And obviously don't forget he gets us Champions League football, which would be brilliant. So yeah, looking at it for me, I feel like that United can definitely get something done tonight. We've just got to be careful of their physicality and them hitting us on the break, because they are very good at what we do. Like I said, their league form is evidently clear of that. Obviously, they've got into the semi-finals as well for the FA Cup, so they are doing very well for themselves. So, Nottingham Forest, we will not underestimate you, but I'm sure it's going to be a very entertaining game. But yeah, let's quickly talk about a bit of transfer news as well. Bruno Fernandes apparently going to Real Madrid for 90 million. Not happening. Not happening. I will have to find where Bruno Fernandes lives, and I don't care what limo, I don't care what chauffeur comes to pick him up, I will let down the tyres of every single one of them cars that Bruno Fernandes lets into, because he is not leaving Manchester United. And Ruben Amorim agrees. He was asked this in his press conference, and he was there. No, Bruno's not going anywhere. Like, Bruno's a quality player. He's our captain. And yeah, I get he's petulant, but for the fans out there who think Bruno Fernandes is petulant and don't like him as a player, honestly, you actually don't know where we would be without him. And to say, if you wanted to do the counter argument, we don't know where we would be without him, that might be a good thing. Maybe. But so far as I'm aware, since Bruno Fernandes has joined Manchester United, he's played with his heart and the badge on his chest at all times. And at no point does he give up. At no point does he, not try. He has his flaws, like every single player. But Bruno Fernandes has more positives than negatives. And I feel like a lot of fans are quite blind when it comes to seeing something like that of Bruno Fernandes' quality. So no, if Bruno Fernandes is looking to leave and he wants to leave, then obviously I'd be absolutely heartbroken. But yeah, hopefully it doesn't happen and he does stay at Manchester United, because he's absolutely quality. Obviously Mason Mount. Obviously, he's going to be back. He'll probably feature off the bench tonight, which would be good. Don't get me wrong, because Mason Mount is a very decent player. I think Mason Mount's got a lot of traits that Ruben Amorim really likes. I mean, when Ruben Amorim speaks about him in press conferences, he has a smile on his face. I mean, we do forget as well, Mason Mount was that star boy and that successor at Chelsea. He was one of their main players. I think he was 2-time Chelsea Player of the Year as well. So Mason Mount's got a lot of qualities, and obviously just due to his injuries, it's been an absolute train wreck since he's been at Manchester United. But he is a European Cup winner. He is a very good player. He was one of England's brightest talents at such a young age. And that player's still there. And I really think that he's got the backing of Ruben Amorim. So if Ruben, or our manager, can definitely get the best out of Mason Mount, that's not a bad thing. Obviously, signing so far, Mason Mount is looking like a flop because of the injury issues and the amount of money we spent on him. But who to say that he can't turn it around? And I really hope he does. I hope every player succeeds at Manchester United. I really do. But I think there's something special there about Mason Mount. And hopefully, if he can just nurture himself back into the team, we'll see a player in Mason Mount just get better and better and better. And it is not going to be a bad thing if you've got Mason Mount, even if it's just coming off the bench every single game and Ruben Amorim doesn't risk him with injuries. I generally think that with Mason Mount, he can definitely have a vital place in this Ruben Amorim team. Obviously, with the press he does, the creativity he can bring. Obviously, he's only got, 1 or 2 assists for Manchester United in his career in 50 appearances. It doesn't feel like he's had 50 appearances or whatever it is. He has had a lot of appearances and just done absolutely nought with it. So I'm just hoping that he can do something and he can just stay fit until the end of the season, because if you stay fit till the end of the season, then the fans can somewhat back you and get behind you, get more excited about you, maybe treat you like a new signing still, because that's kind of what you are, because we've hardly seen you feature properly. So we'll see what you bring, and I'm looking forward to seeing Mason Mount. I don't think he'll start tonight, but I definitely think he'll feature off the bench. So yeah. But I think that's everything that I wanted to cover. So yeah, thank you for watching. Leave a like on the video if you made this far into the video. Subscribe if you are new. And leave a comment down below on your predictions for tonight against Nottingham Forest. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.